Hello, Soul Family. This is Mimi with Divination by Mimi, and this is your solar eclipse, August 21st, Monday, 2017, tarot and a little bit of astrology report. I'll try to make this one quick. So just going quickly up to the 21st, we have the following aspects. Of course, you know there's a total solar eclipse which should be visible from the United States and North America, actually, parts of South America, I think. There is a lovely aspect in that the moon is trine to Saturn, and then there's another one where the moon is trine to Uranus, and the sun is also trine to Uranus. So these aspects make for very positive or harmonious relations between these planets and the energies that they have. So for example, on the 21st, with the moon trining Saturn, the moon being about emotions and hidden things and the unconscious, and Saturn being about rules, regulation, the physical manifested world as we know it in 3D and the laws that apply to that, there will be a softening of the edges of what's possible and what's not. So it's a very magical time. In addition to that, the moon trine Uranus makes for a nice, harmonious, although unexpected. So you're probably already seeing this eclipse season, some of the impacts of this energy on the world stage. Sort of the pissing contest between North Korea and our, I guess, elected president. And also this the shadow of humanity coming up to the surface, kind of like a zit being popped. We kind of saw that in Charlottesville, the worst of humanity, this what we saw. I won't get into it too much. But we're seeing that already playing out, and that's between the two eclipses. So the solar eclipse is going to be even bigger, and these aspects impact quite a bit. Again, I'll recap. The North Node is where we're going to collectively as a consciousness, humanity and other sentient life forms as a consciousness are going toward. That's our goal. It's in Leo. This eclipse is in Leo, the very end of Leo. And of course the sun is in Leo when this eclipse happens. This is about the self, the asserting of the self, autonomy. Also the trines that are occurring are with Uranus, who's in Aries. Aries is a very fast-moving energy and hot and fiery and active and masculine, and Uranus is an unexpected, unpredictable energy and future-thinking and intellectual energy. So the moon trining that is a very positive aspect. Again, trine is a very 120 degrees, a very positive, harmonious aspect. And then the moon also trining Saturn for the same reasons of these unexpected changes with the softening of the manifested world and the 3D world and the laws that apply to that helps quite a bit as well. The sun, of course, is where the eclipse is happening, and the moon is conjunct as well. So, and this is also a new moon. This is all of this is in the sign of Leo. This is so much to do with the self, the collective versus the self, the high octave of the self versus the low octave of the self, the high octave of the collective versus the low octave of the collective. So we're really paring down to some of the best attributes that we can aspire to. We're focusing on this type of thing. There are a couple of other aspects occurring with Black Moon Lilith. I'm not that familiar with the energy of Black Moon Lilith. All I know is that she tends to be about the dark feminine, and she's making, I believe, conjunctions with Saturn, but that's not in this aspectarian. So a lot of things are happening right now for all of us. We're watching it on the news. It's pretty crazy. And with the Mercury retrograde, and these other aspects that have to do with things that have been done the way they've been done for a long time, and then this idea of the feminine coming up and asserting the will of the feminine. This is the Black Moon Lilith, and Venus in Cancer as well. So, so it's a lot, I know. I don't want to go on too long with it. I'll get right into the reading. This is going to be a supernal triangle pull. The top 3 Sephira are the top 3 placements of the Tree of Life, whether it's the Chematic or the Kabbalistic. I am using the Night Sun Tarot, which is a Thoth-based deck. For us, well, for the purposes of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, this would be the top 3 Sephira, which would be Keter, Hokmah, Binah. This would be in the Kemetic tree of life, Amenasur, Tahuti, and Sekert. And then for psychological purposes, just everyday talk, this will be the superconscious, the conscious, and the subconscious mind. Great cosmic soul, Hecate, the great mother. On this day of Jupiter, Thursday, expansive energy on this day. Please make your message clear for all of the world, dear lady. Two more. And one more. If need be, I've got oracle cards and runes, 2 types of runes to clarify. Great Hecate, what do you want us to know that we may not see with our own eyes or even perceive through dreams and symbols? What's that pure message? That pure Mercurian message, as messages are kind of, oh, thank you very much. We received the devil in reverse. I think that's quite good, actually. Or it's a reminder. We also received the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Okay? So that's for the conscious, the superconscious mind. Keter or Amenasur. Now this is for the conscious mind. What is on our mind? What's the, oh, thank you. This is the 8 of Swords. I think there's a lot on our mind. And it's causing some confusion, which is not at all surprising with the energy at the moment. The 8 of Swords, if you notice, is a person here blinded by himself, really, and sort of hindered by these swords. Swords tend to be thinking energy, thought energy, and usually this can mean that we are hindered by our own thoughts. So the ruling aspects on this are Jupiter in Gemini. Okay, so Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Oh, sorry about that. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and if you know a Gemini, they're very communicative and they're very thoughtful. They think a lot. Jupiter is an expansive energy. We're doing this on a Thursday. Thursday is Jove's day, and that's Thor's day, which is Jupiter's day, and that's an expansive energy. So it seems like we are really, really, really in our heads right now. And again, not surprising with the upsetting, confusing messages we're getting in the news and that we're seeing on the world stage, and that we're feeling these energies too, not just as a witness to them, you know, on stage, on the world stage, but we're feeling them in our bodies, we're feeling them in our day-to-day life. So there's a bit of a pressure. I can't say that it's a horrible pressure or a negative pressure, but there's a push-pull happening. And some of it's harmonious. And remember, sometimes good things that happen, changes, sudden unexpected changes like that Uranus energy trining the moon, because it's unexpected, that can seem somewhat uncomfortable, kind of like watching these instances occur in Charlottesville. But I think we needed to see this ugly disease come to the surface, this racism, xenophobia, and just all that we saw that was so very upsetting, to see that anger, that this putrefied illness, sickness. It needs to come to the surface. As shadow work shows us, it has to come to the light for us to inspect it and accept it and integrate it and understand it's part of our history. It's part of who we are collectively, because there is no other. There's no you and me. There's no them and us. We're all one, really. So we need to integrate this, and there's a lesson to be learned here. So as uncomfortable as it is to see this shit, it's actually growth, and that's actually good. Okay. What should we be looking for, we the soul family, collectively, in our dreams and symbols, in those weird happenstances that occur in day-to-day life? You take that wrong turn. We keep hearing that song on the radio over and over again. What's that message? Thank you. So everything is in reverse except for the fact that we're thinking about everything a lot. So it's interesting. Here we got the Lovers, which is the Gemini card. Kind of makes sense in reverse. which kind of makes sense with the retrograde. So Gemini is one of two signs which is ruled by Mercury. One is Virgo, and the other one is Gemini. And this is the Gemini card. The Hebrew letter assignment to this is Zayin, which is a sword, which is very often about cutting through something. And very often the Lover cards is about making a decision on something. So it looks as though we're waiting to make a decision, but there's a delay. It's reversed. Either there's a hesitation on our part, or the energy is not in a perfect flow or alignment for that change to happen, or that decision to finally be made and set upon. And we're being reminded that, I'm being reminded that the Mercury retrograde is possibly affecting this, again, being the Gemini card in reverse. But the decision, whatever decision it is that we're having to make, moving forward. This decision could be something political. This decision could be something personal. There's probably a shitload of decisions you're going to have to be making here soon. All of us are. But try to go with the flow. Try to look at it like an ant farm, if you can. Look at it from that perspective, from the top down, with a bird's eye view. It's truly how it is, actually. Getting back to the superconscious, talking to us about so the devil in reverse is a call to us to release negative, addictive, comforting, quote unquote, comforting things. So we might find comfort in following the sometimes hysterical banter back and forth about these issues that are arising on the world stage. Remember, these issues are only symptoms of the larger infection that's underneath, that this whole eclipse season is helping us bring to the surface. Okay? So as we're doing this, God source, in my world, Hecate, that cosmic mind, the cosmic soul, our intelligence, our highest intelligence, collectively and individually, but collectively really, is saying to let go of things that we quote unquote make us feel, think make us feel comfortable, because really they don't. They generally hinder us. The devil card is, there's always two people, or in this case our children, that are held hostage by their own accord, actually. The devil's just sort of there saying, you know, it's up to you, man. He's ruled by Saturn, or she, or, you know, however, Baphomet, whatever you want to call it, ruled by Saturn and the laws of the three-dimensional world, solve, coag. The idea of it's three-dimensional, things are manifest, things are brought into the physical three-dimensional world. You can do this with them, or you can do that with them, and the choice is yours. And that's basically what the devil does. He just gives you the choice. The free will is actually in your heart. So those chains are generally loose. They can be taken off. You notice there, right there, they have a heart imprisoned as well as the two children there. And when you have an addiction to something, it really does hinder the heart mind. So for example, getting caught up just before, let's say for example, just before you go to bed, one last peek at the banter back and forth on Facebook, you know, always getting to, it makes you feel better. And I do this myself, which is why I'm bringing it up. It makes me feel better sometimes to read the back at you comments of those whose views I side with. Okay? It makes me feel more comfortable. But that's not really a comfort, because remember, there is no us and them. So those that we are seeing, that whose opinions seem to differ greatly from us, are still us, and they have to be integrated. So I think what this kind of message here is encouraging us not to do is engage in those things to the point where we think it's comforting us, because it's truly not. Discord is discord, whether the argument is right in your mind or wrong in your mind. Okay. The reason now, we also received the Virgo card in reverse. This is the Knight of Coins, or discs, in reverse. This is the Virgo card. And I think this is driving home. It's reiterating the fact that now is not the time to fall back into old, comfortable, addictive ways, whether that be drink, food, starving yourself. Those things that we do in excess to our harm, to our physical harm, to our emotional harm, and to our spiritual harm, that we think are causing or giving us comfort because we're so used to them, are really not. We're being asked to really step outside the comfort zone. And comfort doesn't always mean pain. Discomfort doesn't always mean pain. It very often just means different. So now it's asking you to have a mental conversation with yourself about the political events of the day that are so upsetting, and having that conversation without, the blue light of your phone, or your computer, just you and your mind and your heart and your soul, having that conversation with yourself, thinking, okay, this is how I feel about this. Now, I'm a spiritual being. I'm assuming I'm speaking to people that have a loose belief in something larger than themselves, okay? I'm a spiritual being. So what does this mean? The fact that I am so angry that I would really like to go punch those white nationalists in the face. What does that mean when I know that they are me and I am them? What does that mean? And take time with that, because that's actually the growth. That's the North Node in Leo. That's us moving beyond the protective, the quote-unquote things we think are protective yet are addictive, and things that are earthbound, things that are mired in what we see with our five senses, what we witness with our five senses, experience with our five senses. I'm going to get a little clarification here on the Virgo card in reverse. The negative part of the Virgo sign is it can be hypercritical of self and others. And I think that plays in kind of beautifully with Spirit, God, in my world, Hecate, telling us, do not hang on to those things that are so earthbound and hypercritical and divisive. Because with criticism, hypercriticism can bring divisiveness. So can I get clarification on the Virgo card in reverse? Make sure I'm going down the right path now. So I got the Trisk, and hold on, I need a reminder on what that is. That's the Romance. It's ruled by both Venus and Mars, and it's recognizing the opposites in everything. So it actually makes sense with the rest of it. If we don't take on these addictive behaviors, such as the internet, such as engaging in this political banter for the self-righteousness, right? And we don't, with that comes the hypercritical, divisive aspects of the lower octave of Virgo, not the beautiful, kind, loving, benevolent aspects of Virgo, but every sign has a lower octave, and this is part of Virgo's, is hypercriticalism to self and others, which is divisive. What this is saying is, this is the romance, but mostly in romance, we're talking about reconciling the feminine and the masculine in us, the opposites in us when we're talking about relationships. And I believe that that's basically driving home the point that there is no us and them. We are all one. So we need to figure out why it's making us want to do that. How is it really making us feeling? Work on healing ourselves, and then see how that is a prototype for assimilating everybody to understand this is part of our history, this is part of our culture. All of these changes, these egocentric leaders that are in power throwing back and forth these threats, and that this is all part of our South Node, North Node journey collectively. So this is a very it's a very high impact, high energy time, and I encourage you to care for yourself, care for those that you love, and don't get carried away with the back and forth via social media. Social media is wonderful for so many things, but it should not be the last thing you take to bed with you every night as you're reconnecting with your subconscious mind and your soul. Okay? That's what we're being told here. I believe very strongly. Okay, much love, everyone. I will see you for the astrological readings for the month of September. Hope everyone has a wonderful eclipse. Stay safe. Be in love, share love, um, and try to look at it from a bird's eye view. Okay, take care.